Do you sometimes feel like you're just living for yourself? Our culture often influences us. It talks about realizing our own dreams, about becoming the best person we can be, and those aren't necessarily bad things, but sometimes the focus becomes so much on ourselves, on us, that we miss out on a whole nother dimension of life. So in today's episode, we're going to talk about intentionally caring for other people and how that can actually help us to lead a more fulfilled life in the long run. Welcome to Vida Bunda, a place where we talk about living intentionally, about how we can give and live more abundantly. Let's get started. So in today's episode, we're going to talk about 3 questions we can ask ourselves as we think about how to care more intentionally for other people. Now, for many years, we had an elderly relative who lived in Europe, and he would write letters and send them in the mail. And sometimes these letters would come at very inconvenient times. He was older and widowed and very sad and lonely, but he really appreciated letters. And even though it was difficult, we tried to write back, not necessarily every single time, but we did try to send him letters from time to time. And we even went through some considerable effort and expense to try and go visit him when we happened to be in Europe. And we tried to go and spend time with him, first in his home and then in a facility where he was being cared for his final years. And even though it was a lot of inconvenience and time and expense, I'm so glad that we took the time to do that, because we learned from him. We learned more about the family history, we learned more about history in general, and it was just interesting getting to know somebody who lived in a completely different part of the world than we were used to. As we care for other people, our own life begins to change. So we're going to ask ourselves some questions as we think about how to care for other people. And the first question is who? Who should we care more about in our community? Who should we care more about in our life? Now, it might be somebody who actually lives near where we live, or it might be somebody on the other side of the world that we just need to be more intentional about interacting with. So the question is, who might be able to benefit from us caring more for them? Is it friends? Is it family members? Is it perhaps distant relatives? Is it elderly people who might be lonely somewhere? Or is it a young person who comes from a broken home and just needs a family atmosphere and needs somebody to mentor them? Is it perhaps a single parent in the community that needs some help? Or is it the homeless people that we walk past on our way to work? Who in our lives could use some extra care? The second question is, what specifically could I do to assist them? Is it somebody who just needs some kind of practical help, like food or clothing? Is it somebody who needs a job and we can help them get their resume together, or give them some experience to put on their resume? Is it somebody who needs just some regular check-ins, maybe a phone call or an email, a visit, maybe a regular visit once a week if we can do that? What is it that the person actually needs that we could do to show them that we care for them? Perhaps they just need our services, like helping to carry things or mowing the lawn or running errands for them, getting groceries for them. Maybe it's babysitting so that they can have a night off. Whatever it is, let's think about how it is that we could actually help that person to show them that we care for them. So in those first 2 questions, we're really thinking about specific people that we want to invest more time in, that we want to spend more time with, help them in very concrete, practical ways to show them that they're cared for. But beyond those specific people, we want to get to the third question, and that is, how can we show people in general that we care for them more in our everyday life? The people that we interact with on a daily basis. It could be a cashier at a store, or a driver if we ride a bus. And these can be pretty simple things, like just stopping to greet them, asking how they're doing, engaging in a 30-second or 1-minute conversation, just so that they know that we're not completely ignoring them. It could be finding out more about their life or their story and just understanding their life a little bit better, what they're going through, giving them a smile, giving them an encouraging word. It doesn't have to be huge, but it can really make a big difference in somebody's life. Psychology Today actually summarizes scientific studies that have been done. And one of those aspects is called generativity. Normally that means thinking more about future generations and investing in other people, but it could be generalized more to just thinking in general about others, not necessarily just the future generation. And scientific research has shown that the more generativity there is in your life, the more likely you are to have a sense of fulfillment in your life. So the more we care for others, the more fulfilled we will actually become ourselves. So let me encourage you, sometime in the next few days, take a little bit of time to think about who it is that we could care for more, how exactly we could care for them, and how can we be more caring in general in our everyday life. If you're interested in a tool for this, just send us a note and we'll be happy to send you a little guide. It's absolutely free that gives you some questions to think about and a little paper to put your plan on for what you're going to do about this. That's available for free at vidabunda.com. Just go to vidabunda.com. Click on contact and send us a note saying, I'd like the tool for intentionally caring for others, and we'll be happy to send that to you. Just remember that our own lives begin to change as we take the focus off of ourselves and begin to focus more on other people. Thanks for joining us today. Look forward to seeing you in a future episode.